Hey guys, how is everyone? This is Ujjwal from Tickertape and welcome to the fourth episode in this webinar series on Intro to Tickertape. In this episode, we'll talk about the basics of screening. In the previous three episodes, we talked about stocks. So we talked about investment checklist, forecasts, financials, peers, events and news. If you want to watch those webinars, you can search for the Tickertape playlist on Zerodha's YouTube channel. ये इस वीडियो का इंग्लिश वर्जन है. हिंदी में इसी वेबिनार को सुनने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में हिंदी वीडियो के लिंक पर जाइए. फॉर व्यूअर्स वाचिंग दिस ऑन देयर मोबाइल, इफ समथिंग इज नॉट विजिबल, प्लीज इंक्रीज द क्वालिटी सेटिंग्स इन यूट्यूब और जूम इन यूजिंग योर फिंगर्स. Okay, let's get started. So we'll start with the home page of Tickertape. In order to go to Screener, you click on the Product Switcher drop down and click on Screener. Alright, so this is a basic screen that has been presented as the welcome screen for Screener. So before we move ahead, let's discuss what stock screening is. Most of you are already familiar with it, but for friends who are new, screening is a method of applying rules to arrive at a result set. So basically you take a big list of stocks, you apply certain rules and formula to it, and based on those rules, the result set is calculated. And this is what screening is in simple words. So what we'll do in this webinar is that we will take a couple of examples. We will start with certain ideas in our head and we will build iteratively to arrive at a result set which represents that idea. Cool. So before we do that, let's just take a very brief tour of what the different elements on this screen are one by one. So on the left pane, the left panel that you see here, we call it the filters panel. So all the filters that you apply and all the ranges of those filters will be available on this panel. You can add filters using this control here, where all the filters are available and grouped according to the type of filters that there are. And you can remove the filters from here as well. So P ratio got removed. And the right pane is the results panel. So basically in this panel, whatever filters you apply here, the results are calculated from the stock list, in this case the entire NSE stock universe, and the results are populated. Cool, so let's get started. So let's start with a theme. Let's say we want to look at undervalued, high growth, well-rated FMCG stocks. So it's a lot of words, a lot of things put into one theme. But let's break it down. So let's start with the last thing. We said FMCG stocks, right? So that's easy to do. That's easy to understand. We want to look at FMCG stocks. So we'll go to sector. I can either search here, FMCG, or I'll go to consumer staples and I'll click on FMCG. There you go. So we're down to 31 results already. We did nothing, we just selected the FMCG sectors. Great, so one part of our theme is done. Alright, so next was well rated. So what does rating mean? So stocks are covered by stock analysts. That's their job. What these analysts do is, in summary, they will give you 5 ratings on stocks. It will either be buy, it will be strong buy, it will be hold, it will be sell, or strong sell. So what we do is, to cover, let's say, well-rated stocks, we have created a metric called percentage buy reco. So we will go to add filter, we'll go to broker ratings and percentage buy reco. So this is the sum of analysts having a strong buy or buy rating as a fraction of the total number of analysts covering that stock. So let's add this filter because we want to look at well-rated stocks. And how do we arrive at well-rated stocks is by changing this value here, right? So if I click on high, this gives me percentage buy reco of greater than 70%. Let's be a bit more accommodating. Let's just say we want to do 50. So greater than 50% is percentage by reco stocks are now filtered out. So we came down to 17 results. That's our big jump. That's great. Now let's move on to the other part in our theme. We want to look at undervalued stocks, right? So there are different ways to look at undervalued stocks. There are entire books written on it. So whatever I say here is not advisory at all. It's just an example to explain to you how filters work. So please don't trade based on this filter set. This is just an example. So if I were to look at undervalued stocks, I would go to valuation. So there are different metrics here. We know about what PE ratio is. This is close price divided by the earnings per share. We want to compare the stock's PE ratio versus that of the sector. So that is how we will say the stock is undervalued or overvalued. So we'll go to PE premium versus sector. All right. Stock PE ratio divided by the corresponding sector PE ratio minus 1. What does it mean? So we have the PE premium versus sector filter applied. Here it is. Now we want to look at undervalued stocks. You'll see how the shortcuts here are different from percentage by reco shortcuts. So if I click on discount, all the negative values got filtered in. If I were looking for overvalued stocks, I would click on premium. So since we are looking for undervalued, let's go ahead with discount. I could have changed this as well, but let's stick to this for now. So you see we are down to 8 results now. So before applying this filter, we were at, let's reset it. We were at 17 results. And now that we have applied the filter, we are at 8 results now. Great. The last part of our theme was high growth. So let's go to growth. So there are different ways of looking at growth. And again, this is not advisory. This is just an example. But let's look at EPS growth. Now, since we want to look into the future, we'll look at forward EPS growth. Estimated EPS for the current fiscal year divided by the EPS for last fiscal year, which is fact. This is broker estimates, minus 1. So forward EPS growth numbers. We want to look for high forward EPS growth. So we'll click on high. And there you go. We are at 3 results now after applying all the filters in our theme that we wanted to apply. Cool. Now, what I want to specify here is that the screen is this part. The screen is a collection of filters and their ranges. The screen results are dynamic. Let's say I save the screen. Let's call it undervalued high growth FMCG. It's a long name, but let's just, okay. So now this screen got saved, right? Now let's say tomorrow Heritage Foods numbers change in such a way that its numbers does not fall into the ranges of these filters that we applied. So what will happen? This will not change, but this result set will change, and Heritage Foods tomorrow will go out of this result set. So tomorrow it might be possible that there are only 2 results. So this will always be your screen. This is the result set that will be calculated based on the numbers prevalent on that day. Cool. So now you have a screen. Great. So basically what we did was, we started with a theme, we broke it down into different filters, we applied those filters one by one, we applied the ranges that we wanted to apply, and then we arrived at a result set, and then we saved our screen. I can reset the filter as well, and we are back to our initial stock universe, which is the entire NSE universe. Cool. All right. So now let's go to the next example. Let's start with a new screen. Let's clear up space a bit. All right. let's look at profitability and efficiency driven metrics this time around. So let's start with going to profitability. Let's add, let's say, net profit margin. So all of us know what net profit margin is, but for the uninitiated, net profit margin is net income divided by the revenue for that financial year. So let's add it. Again, let's go to net profit margin. You are looking for high net profit margin. There you go. Done. We are down to 181 results now. Great. Now let's go to profitability again. Let's add maybe return on investment. Again, this is net income as a fraction of a sum of long-term debt and shareholders' equity. All right. Return on investment is here. We also want high ROI. There you go. We are down to 87 results now. All right. Now, there might be certain times when you want to apply certain filters that are not, let's say, standard filters. So you want to, maybe, I hope so, that you have come up with some really amazing filter which no one else has thought of, and you want to somehow arrive at it and apply it to get a result set. So you can do that by custom filters. So custom filters are basically a way for you to write formula to arrive at a new filter using existing filters. So let's take an example. Let's think of a filter, let's say EBITDA as a fraction of employee cost. Don't quote me on this again. This is just an example, but let's say we wanted to look at this filter. So EBITDA and cost. All right. My custom filter formula is created. Now I need to check whether this formula is valid or not. It might be possible that I mistyped something. So we have something called verify. So what this will do is it will just verify whether the expression is valid or not. And the expression is valid. And it gave you numbers that this expression would have calculated for Reliance Industries and Infosys just for a check purpose. Cool. So I'll create and add this filter. You can see the filter got added here, and it got added here as well. Now let's say I want to set certain ranges. I can do exactly like I was able to do on, official filters. You can do it with custom filters as well. So let's do it again as high. We want high EBITDA, generated per unit employee cost. Great. Now, there might be certain, let's say, metrics that we want to see in our table, but we don't want to apply it as a filter. So you can see that all the filters that we have applied so far, from net profit margin to ROI to the custom filter that we created, EBITDA by employee cost, are all present here, and they are applied as well because we specified ranges for them. Right? What if I just want to, for these 17 stocks, I just want to see certain metric, let's say return on equity, but I don't want to apply any range to it. So let's go to profitability, let's go to return on equity, let's click on it, and let's reset it. What this would mean is that this number is just projected here. We call them projected filters, and the rest are called applied filters. So projected filters just show the number in this column just for the sake of, knowing what ROE these different stocks have, but no filter is applied. Right? I mean, ROE filter is not applied, the other filters are still applied. So the result set is being calculated only through these three filters. ROE is just shown on the screen for your information purposes. Great. Now, my filters are done, but I want to restrict my result set to a specific list of stocks. Okay. We can do that through Stock Universe. So Stock Universe is basically the bucket of stocks in which your filters should operate. So currently, nothing is selected, right? Stock Universe, nothing is selected. So these filters are working on the entire NSE universe, right? Now, let's say I wanted to only apply these filters in Nifty 500. right? So what it did was it applied those filters in the Nifty 500 stocks, and we came at this result set. I don't know if you've seen this, but basically we have something called Watchlist. Watchlist is Watchlist. So you create your watchlist, painstakingly, layer by layer. You add different stocks that you want to track. What if you wanted to apply, let's say, certain filters only on your watchlisted stocks? We can do that by creating a custom stock universe. So let's create a custom stock universe. Let's call it Hero Watchlist. Let's link our watch list. So this gives the entire stock list that is present in the watch list that we just saw. So what this allows us to do is that very easily apply different filter sets on whatever watch list stocks I have, which I have added over time and I'm very, let's say, proud of. Please don't burn me on certain stocks in this list. Or what I can do is that I can manually select stocks as well. I can write Reliance, I can write TCS. So I can create a big list of stocks. Let's say I want to only restrict to a particular set of stocks, let's say away from my watch list. I don't want to do any analysis on my watch list, but I still want to restrict the stocks results to these list of stocks. Then I would create this, or otherwise I can just link my watch list. So let's go with the easy example in this one. Let's just link the watch list. Done. So my universe 4 got created and it's not applied yet. So when I click on this is applied, right? So this is restricting all these filters results only in my watch listed stocks. So if I remove it, again, this is done. If I want to change it, I go here. I selected such a nice name, but I didn't save it. Again, Hero Watchlist. Done. Right, so if I wanted to edit my universe, I can still go into edit and edit it. Finally, good name. All right, so these 5 results are coming from my watch list and a combination of the different filters that I applied. Cool. So this covers basically using stock universe, using custom filters, applying filters, putting in ranges, saving the screen. Again, let's save the screen. You have done so much work on this. Prof watchlist driven. And let's put some description. All right, cool. So our second screen also got saved. So again, like we discussed in the last screen, if any changes happens in this list, right? I mean, any changes happen to this stocks numbers, they might come in or go out of this list, basically. So this is the screen. This is just the result set, which is calculated every day. And just so, because we discussed watch list, if I add any items to my watch list, which should have come but didn't come, it will get added here as well. So let's take an example. If I remove my watch list, VST Industries was coming in, but it wasn't coming in after applying my watch list. So let's do one thing. Let's do VST Industries. And let's add it to our watch list. Done. Now let's go back and there you go. Now let's do one thing. Let's click on VST Industries. Remove it from watch list. Watch list got updated. And VST Industries is out. So this is live. Basically, this is linked to your watch list. And this is a live custom stock universe that you have created, which will keep on updating your stock results screener results according to whatever watch list items there are present right now. Cool. All right, so we covered most of the basic elements. We'll have another session on screener, which we'll do subsequent to this video, the next video in this webinar series, in which we'll talk about other advanced screening techniques. One thing I wanted to highlight was the price and data update schedule. So basically, this is the schedule. You can go through it in detail, but the prices on all the data points that you see on screener are updated either end of day or beginning of day. So after markets end and before markets start. All right, now let's finally also look at a very interesting feature that I use very extensively. Let's increase the size of our result set. Let's remove stock universe. We are at 176 results now. Now, if I want to export this to an Excel file, to do any further analysis that I might want to, I can click on this. I can even choose the rows. Let's say I want to export row 8 to row 101. Right, so this will export a CSV file which you can open in any of your favorite spreadsheet applications. And I click on export results and done. It's downloaded. You can't see it on the screen, but it's downloaded to my device, and I can do any offline analysis that I want to do on it. Cool. So that's all for this screener session. We'll do another session on screener in the next webinar, where we'll talk about pre-built screens and what to do after you have created a screen. How do you transact on those screen results? After that, we'll move on to index and ETF pages. We had to change the order of screener and index ETF pages because there was a lot of popular demand for screener webinar. We are very thankful for all the interest that you and the love that you shower on us. But we will cover index and ETF pages after we cover screener. And finally, we'll wrap up the series with portfolio insights on Zerodha Console that you might have seen. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciated it. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.